What's your favorite place to watch porn? You're on record here.
Okay.
So this is episode 13, Thunderdome, question and answer. Thank you guys for participating. Man, you hear everything. Like I'm moving these.
Yeah, it's very loud.
So what we could do is we'll just turn it down, and you'll just hear your voice. So that's the idea of having the microphone as close to your face as possible.
That's much better.
We could...
I kind of like it.
So with that volume that you just turned down isn't going to change the recording. I
Right.
can do that later.
It's just in the head.
But I think I'm going
You
to...
guys can do whatever you want.
I think I'm gonna
but
do-
if it starts to sound funny, I can fix it later.
Yeah,
I'm going to do
you should
everything. I'm going to
do ASMR.
I'm going to do everything with microphones from now on.
Yeah, it's way better.
I'm going to put on a... I have that carbon fiber base helmet.
Yeah.
For my nods, for my night vision. And I have the ear pro for it. Because I got it because I wanted to mow in the dark. So I got the light bars and the night vision. I have a fighter jet face mask plate so I can breathe oxygen. But I can run it through a pumper system in the backpack for rugged radios. And PCI, I think, makes race intercom systems. But they have a puffer system that runs your air through a filter. So when you're doing desert race shit in open cockpit. So I think that would be cool. But I would like to just walk around in everyday life wearing that. Because I hit my head on stuff a lot.
You need a boom operator, somebody to hold the microphone.
It'd be good, yeah.
Up.
Or one of those like gimbal backpack things that keeps the camera over the front of you.
Yeah, there's a guy that does IRL streaming, in real life streaming, in Beverly Hills, and he walks around with an entire backpack set up, and it's all getting recorded to his backpack.
I'll bet he gets beat up a lot, doesn't he?
So what he does is people find out where he is, and then they start swatting that place, and then like people know who he is now, and they won't let him come in.
So they've swatted Tim Pool, like 11 times.
Yeah.
But the crazy shit, like you don't ever know if it's somebody really with the intent of getting you deaded, like getting you killed, you know?
Yeah, I think it's more mischief.
Or mischief, like which is it? So first question here, Scott Hansen. Oh, I thought there was an in there. First question here, Scott Hassan. I talk to him all the time. I guess I should know what his name is.
I love how you ask it for somebody to tell you how to pronounce their name, but they're typing to you.
Right.
So there's no way for them to tell you.
Well, they could spell it out. Like, is it Andrea or Andrea?
That's exactly what I was
right?
thinking.
Just spell it out like phonetic, or just put space or a dash in there.
Or is it Andrea?
See,
oh yeah,
Andrea is the bitch from 90210 to me. So
the horse face girl.
What's that?
The horse face girl, Tori Spelling?
No. It's the one that, like, they would always be getting into some shit, and then she would have a problem with it and ruin their time.
Imagine their lives today, because they were important in society when that was happening. And then even as an adult, they were still trying to make shows and spinoffs. Where are they today? Like, what importance do they do? I mean, maybe they do. I mean, maybe they have some philanthropic thing that they do.
Horseface is Aaron Spelling's daughter.
Yes.
So she's fine.
Yeah.
But everybody else, I've seen, like, Ian Ziering. It pisses me off that he's Ian, not Ian. He goes to Sturgis a lot, and he always has, like, a $100,000 motorcycle, but I don't know where he's getting that money from.
So I know a dude that's, like, good friends with that dude. I've never met him. But that whole crew ran around down in SoCal a lot. And the same guy we met, who did Andon Kutcher? Aston Kutcher?
Yeah, the punk
he brought him in the shop in Oceanside, right, I think before he was doing Punk'd. So
for me, I think that he has a bad reputation because I think he's probably an interesting guy, but people think of him as the dude, where's my car guy.
Aston Kutcher?
Yeah.
I think he is. I think he has a lot to say.
Yeah.
And I think that all of those dudes are so intertwined in the cloth of Hollywood. And you're seeing it play out right now with what Kanye West has been saying openly, right?
Yeah.
And they've just unbanked him, unpersoned him, cut him off all these platforms. But some good news on that front, which I think will be good news. I think it's all to some amount evil, but lesser of evil. Elon Musk is in possession and now owns Twitter as of about 2 hours ago.
Have you been looking at Doge? I haven't today, but yesterday.
Good question.
Spiked.
I have not. There's a lot of speculation. Bitcoin's about to shoot up.
Yeah. So I spent almost the last 9 months not buying anything, and now I'm pissed. I was telling Annie.
But you knew better, man. You knew.
Yeah, I was quietly saving everything. Like I was holding everything while everybody was talking shit about look at all you crypto guys. And I didn't sell a thing. I just waited.
You know,
I should have bought more, but no, I didn't.
It's super funny the people that come out of the woodwork when they think that, ooh.
Yes, you can hear that.
It's super funny the people come out of the woodwork and the energy and time they put into shit talking somebody that they perceived has lost.
Yeah.
When they weren't invested, they didn't gain nor lose anything from it. They just want to see you fail.
I think that comes from they don't want to worry about what they're doing. You know, like
a distraction.
Yeah, like they're failing. So if they see somebody make a wrong move, then that makes them feel better.
Maybe so. So Scott said, how would your ideal fallout bunker be set up, and would you build it or buy it? So money's no option. I would be involved in the design of it, but I would definitely have somebody build it. We would talk to probably Ron from, I don't even know what company, Atlas Shelters probably. There's a few other guys too. I would definitely talk to, what's the dude? We know that dude. What's the dude's name from Off the Ranch?
Oh,
Matt. We would definitely talk to Matt because I know he went a different direction than Atlas. And I think he actually had some problems with his shelter. Some issues. So, but really I would get with, the first thing I would do is get with Thad.
That's what I was going to say.
And I would get with Bob because I trust those guys and they're involved in bigger construction stuff. And we would look at in-ground concrete, concrete boxes, concrete forms, concrete culverts, stuff that freeways can drive over and reinforcements in that manner. That's where I would start. If you're talking, I just want something in the ground, and I'm going to sell it to the wife because she's going to kind of laugh about a bomb shelter. Amanda wouldn't. I'd be like, we're going to shoot porn in the bomb shelter. And she'd be like, yes, porn. Okay, let's get this.
Bring the lube.
But you could definitely use it year-round as a root cellar. What am I looking for? Root cellar. So I think that you have some options. Do you really need a bomb shelter? Are you going to do it in pieces, right? Can you just put the structure in the ground, save some money by not putting in big HEPA filters and big manual pump air exchangers and stuff like that? You could. We've talked about it. We've talked about a underground, a cistern, a big concrete box that we put in the ground with a crane. The best place for us to put it, the flattest place, is around the building. But we still have to drive semi-trucks and huge, heavy gravel dump trucks and stuff over it occasionally. So we would need something that would go under, an interstate or a freeway or under a road. And I'm told that is totally doable. So my thought was, well, if we already have the equipment on site, we're already getting the pre-made form from wherever it's coming, we might as well bring 2 or 3 and just have individual boxes that aren't necessarily connected, but one that actually is a cistern, and then one that is underground subsurface for storage or temperature control or just a tornado shelter even at that point. You can buy these little, for $6,000, a company will come out and put a big concrete box in the side of your hill. For $7,000 to $10,000, they'll come out and cut a hole in your garage floor and take all that out and put a metal box in there and then anchor it in and use chemical adhesion. And that's a cool one because those are a slide door. So when it's not, man, this is fucking me up over here.
Yeah.
Holy shit. When it's not tornado season, it's just a door that slides open, you get in. But when it's not tornado season, you can park your car or your razors or whatever over it and not lose that floor space. But you can keep all your stuff staged down in there. And when a storm does come, you can get down in there. So
I've done some research on that, and a lot of people say if you have 4 people, get the one that's made for 10.
Yeah.
Because you can put like bottles of water and shit like that
yeah.
in there.
And it's not, those storm shelters are not bomb shelters, right? You're not going to go in there and actually stay in there for a sustained amount of time. Typically, they are registered with your emergency departments, so they know if your building is flat, we have a higher potential of finding survivors. We need to get this cleared. It takes priority generally, and they're going to try to extricate you. So some of these things also have cranks and mechanical advantage, gear assistance, so that it'll actually pull the thing up and move some debris off of you so you can kind of shimmy out of there. I thought I didn't have much to say about this, but I guess I did have quite a bit.
So you guys know Jeff Quinn from Gun Blast? He died a few years ago. Big guy with the beard. He used to come on Tag Response every now and then. He's in Dover.
Okay.
And he had he's an older guy, so he had like the old antique. He had a huge antique gun collection. And he documented his shelter on YouTube. And what he wanted was a walk-in safe that could be a storm shelter also. And what he did is opened up, 20 feet next to his house, poured a cement box, and then made a hole that went into the house and put a vault door on it. Mm-hmm. And that's like, money's no option. That's where I would start, because there's not much there, but it's way better than anything else. It's a concrete hole or box in the ground with a vault door. But then I'd want like a bunch of cool shit to go with it, like a slide to get in there and stuff like that.
So we had a friend.
Fireman's pole.
Yeah, exactly.
Always on the pole. So we had a friend moved here, and they did. I don't know that they executed, but the plans were in place, and we got some local guys here. And basically, what they did is they kind of cut into the side of his hill, put a slab down. I think there was a hot tub back there originally. Put a slab down. And then rebar into the slab, so it's structural, and then brought all the cinder blocks, filled all the cinder blocks, so it's wired and rebarred. Mm-hmm. I don't know what they did for a roof. I feel like they put a concrete cap on top because then the dirt was pushed back against there, so like there was earth over the whole thing, but you accessed it from the house. Yeah. And it was a safe room like that, and I think it was, a gun vault is what it was, really. Mm-hmm. But yeah, everything's doable. It just comes down to money. And when you're talking to guys that do, like, I guess residential stuff, you can do things. But then when you're talking to guys that do industrial concrete stuff, there's a lot more that you can do. You don't know really. You have to realize that you're dealing with the capabilities of the person that you are dealing with. Mm-hmm. And everything is doable. It's just how much... whether you can afford to do that or not.
So that's why I was thinking Thad and Bob, because to me, concrete can crumble, and like if you put earth on top of it, and concrete is porous, so if you have 1,000 gallons next to another room, to me that shit's gonna leak. But those guys know how to make it right, When you start looking, like when we would go to
we go to Vegas. I think we were out there for SHOT Show when we go to Vegas, but they always had a concrete convention. Mm-hmm. The concrete convention was way fucking cooler than SHOT Show. And you'd go over there, dude, and they would have, it's just like going to the fireman conventions and stuff. Yeah. They have this equipment that you've never fucking seen, and they build these things, and you're like in the show, they have built like modern concrete homes and things. Yeah. There's so many different kinds of they have concrete that light will go through. They have concrete that water will pass through. They have concrete that you could pick up that has fucking less than half the weight of it, but 10 times stronger. Yeah. And then it's what you coat it with, right, on the outside. So if you and I were going to go and dig into this cliff here and put in 8801 cinder blocks and rebar it in and then attach it to the slab, we're going to pour our rebar in the slab in the forms, and we're going to wire it up. Mm-hmm. And that can be you. Typically, when we would come in and form concrete slabs where we're going to pour, and then another crew would come in and wire in the rebar, and then we'd run our verticals up, and our rebar a lot of times would come from the floor and then 90 degrees up, so it was actually the same piece. It wasn't just wired together a lot of times. That's interesting. It just depends how strong you have to make it. Yeah. And whether we're going to have a shear load or a down, like what's the load going to be, right? Mm-hmm. Are we worried about something hitting it from the side and knocking that wall down? But we're going to contain it in earth. So then are we going to put some kind of membrane over it how do we attach the membrane, or are we just going to use tar? At what point with earth up physically against it is the tar going to deteriorate and let water come through? We had that in one of the first houses we lived in here. Our basement was completely underground and it pissed through there. So they actually had to come in before we took possession of the house, and they cut 24 inches out around that whole basement and then put some kind of water abatement in there. But I mean, we could put in...
It didn't work.
It worked pretty well. It worked pretty well. But we could, if it was just you and me, homeowner, doing it, and we don't want anybody to know it's there, we don't want to bring crews in, we could dig down, we could fill that area up with gravel, put it on at a certain amount of grade, right? So that it's basically going to be French drains.
Yeah.
And then we're going to also put a berm up there to catch most of the water, so it's not even going to hit that. It's not even going to hit that area there. And then the water that does come in, it's going to just piss out the sides, and we can put pipes in there or what. I mean, there's 100 ways to do the same thing. It's how much money do you have, and what is your time cost? You know, what is it worth?
Like that idea with the French drain,
it's what we did around the building.
Yeah, and it, well, I mean, if you dug a hole and did that, to me that seems like it would be a lot cheaper. Like if you need like a storm shelter, not a fallout shelter, but like a storm shelter right now, and you don't have that much money, then that's a perfect idea. Maybe put like a little metal or some sort of roof on it, slanted, but in the ground, and then there you go. Like, it's not safe, but it's safe from the weather.
Like you see guys, shipping containers, right? You don't want to bury a shipping container because the weight of the earth will push the sides of the shipping container in. So what's the solution to that? Dig into the hill,
make a frame.
and make a frame. You could do rail ties, which are going to deteriorate over time. We could do cinder block. We could do poured concrete. I like poured concrete, really. It's a mystery to people who don't do it because you have to form it. And you got to bring it in and pour it. But I mean, once you've seen it done, it's doable. It's just trading your time to the guy that you need his time. How do you do that and work that out? So,
and in my opinion, the way polished concrete looks is
beautiful.
Pretty. Yeah, so
beautiful.
Like, if you're worried about you got this big concrete box, you could make it look nice.
Yeah, we looked at a lot of different when we were about to move into the building. We looked at painting the inside of the building. We looked at changing out the metal that was inside the building. We looked at reskinning the outside of the building. We looked at, we ended up going with CVT tiles, which are commercial tiles that are in hospitals and, courts and, county buildings and stuff. It was $1,300 just to put tile in the building where there's tile.
Yeah.
That didn't include the garage at all.
That's not much.
So we were looking at them, taking everything out of the garage when we had a ton of shit in the garage already, right? So we had to take everything out of the garage, bring in these big orbital sanders, sand it down, and then epoxy it. And we were talking epoxies, and they were putting like glitter in the epoxy and all kinds of shit, right? And while it seems awesome today, how are you going to feel about that 5 years, 10 years from now, right?
Yeah, and does that clear coat get foggy from walking on it and mopping?
Yeah,
and
so
that stuff?
It doesn't seem there's homeowner.
Yeah, and then there's the
versus the dude that comes in with the machine and the fucking tanker truck, right? And your tastes change. Like, I always wanted black slate shower, big black slate shower with like polished Japanese river rock for the floor until you stand barefoot on fucking river rock and you're like, this shit's really uncomfortable. So the solution is they sand it down so it's all flat, right? Pretty good.
Yeah.
But nowadays, doing a shower, now that I have a black shower, it's fucking dark in that motherfucker, right? I would rather have big, wide, tall marble.
White marble.
Running vertical, right? Because it makes the shower look taller. But you don't know what you don't know, right? You just have some shit stuck in your head that's been there as a kid, and once you get it, you're like, yeah, now I see why everybody told me not to do this.
I never thought black marble, dark room. Like, that's clear, like, that should be the first thing you think of, but I didn't think of it until you just said it,
Yeah.
Well, and when we first built that shower, there was a light inside of the shower stall, but then we put in a draw fan, so the light had to come out.
Yeah.
So now it's dark in there because there's no
There's solutions for it. It just hasn't been executed.
Yeah, I mean, you could
the way LED is now, I mean, you could even use battery-powered shit. I have a drain that we had custom made that is a trough drain, so in the middle of the shower, it comes down, but the grate that goes over it actually has a rechargeable battery that you recharge on a DeWalt charger, and you just change them out every 6 months or so. So when water hits that trough, that whole trough illuminates red.
Oh, really? That's cool.
So I mean, there's all kinds. I mean, you're only limited by fucking money or knowledge. So second question here, Derek Olson, and we can cut a lot of this out, put it on the back end, so if they don't want to listen to it, they can, or whatever. Derek Olson, what is your favorite holiday traditions? So as a kid, holy shit, we're gonna have to get this building fixed. As a kid, I always looked forward to Thanksgiving and Christmas. Thanksgiving and Christmas, all of our families came together. It was, my cousins were all there. We would meet at grandma's house or my house or my cousin's house. As time went on, we kind of just fell away from that. Like, we did it all the way up until we were adults, for sure. But now, I mean, Amanda and I, our kids are grown for the most part. We don't have, we just sleep in on Christmas, or we go out of town on Christmas. Like, I guess we like to run around on Christmas and just see what's open. Mm-hmm. We don't ever know what's
it's
open.
Like a challenge.
Yeah.
But we run into Nashville and just eat with all the other heathens that aren't doing, Christmas stuff, I guess. I don't know. What's yours?
So when my kids were growing up, we always did this Christmas Eve box, basically. So it was like a new pair of pajamas and like a new book or a DVD or something like that. And I think that's probably my favorite thing that we did when my kids were growing up. But right now, it's really like, let's go see what's actually open, who's actually participating in society currently.
Different stages of life.
Yeah, instead of stuck at home with 40 people who are all drunk and everybody's fighting. And
so we never had drunken fighting. I mean, they were always fighting amongst
it was
mom
always
and the
fighting
aunts,
at mom.
We always had an aunt. She was going to be 2 hours late, so you'd tell her to be there at 10, so she might show up at 12, but wasn't going to be there till 1.
And then you got the people who you got to say come later, and then they show up on time because they're
like, I like the idea of having a bunch of people here, but then I have to fucking have a bunch of people here.
Yeah.
And if I want to, there's a lot of times where when we just don't have to do something tomorrow, we'll be up till 3 a.m. Mm-hmm. And then when you got people here, you got to be up and have fucking breakfast with them or whatever. Yeah. So it's just nice to literally to do whatever we want to do.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, you guys are at the point in your life where you don't have...
Why don't you move... Can you move more forward?
Yeah. I was actually thinking that... I didn't know that I was going to be talking this
That's
much.
good right there, probably.
I should probably have another microphone next time.
So, yeah.
You guys are at the stage of life where you can do whatever you want, whenever you want, and then a day like that, you know that there's nobody else around, so there's nothing to do anyway, so you could just go do whatever you want to do, Yep. I can't wait till you get in that stage.
Yeah, I bet.
So, Tyler Mallory, if a true shit hit the fan situation happened in the United States, whether it be plague, anarchy, or alien invasion, do you think any other countries would come to our aid? And if so, which ones and at what cost? So, Tyler, I don't know what movies you've watched or prepper fiction you've listened to or read, but that is a common theme in there, right? So, Jericho is a good example, right? If you watch the TV series Jericho, that was pretty good. All the power went out in the United States, and then a couple episodes into it, China's airdropping shit into the United States. Now, I don't know how the show was supposed to go because it only did 2 seasons, but in a lot of the books, you start having UN troops come in, and you have China come in, and pandemonium, major panic for the first few months, and it's biker gangs and all this shit. But I don't know. I don't have a fucking clue, man.
I don't think anybody's coming to save us. We're the ones who always go somewhere else to save them.
Yeah, they're not coming to save us. They're not
coming to save us, because if we're in a disaster, so are they, and they're already
not necessarily.
They're already not able to deal with it.
Yeah, that's not necessarily. It depends on.
Well,
so there's a book a series I just went through. I don't know what it was. It was whoever the guy that wrote Locker 9. He's got several series of 9, 10, 12 episode books. And the theme in there was that some terrorists had basically came into the United States and took out key pieces of infrastructure. Now there's some briefings and some stuff going around, even pre-Y2K, that if you hit a certain power station in the Arizona border and a couple in San Diego, you could literally take down the entire West Coast. And it's been demonstrated. Something happened in the Arizona desert in a transfer station that literally wiped power out all the way across the West Coast up to Canada. And you saw it also happen in New York. So our infrastructure is very delicate. Now, I question whether that is intentional or just carelessness, but we know that it is fact. So you could easily disable the United States and still have other places operating, other countries. So I don't know, man. I don't know. It's something that you can't control, though. So if we're going to have that conversation, and I totally don't mind having the conversation, but it's just speculation, man. We're just writing doomsday fantasy porn at that point. But I would ask, are you threes, right? 3 minutes, 3 hours, 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months. So at this point, and I think you do, I mean, I know you've got some heads of cattle and you seem to have, I think you're in Colorado or somewhere, you said, or maybe it was Texas. But do you have that 90-day supply ready, right? Do you have 90 days worth of medication, 90 days worth of fuel, 90 days worth of how to clean water, 90 days worth of how to heat yourself, keep yourself warm, feed yourself? So a lot of people that want to have, and I know that's not Tyler's. I know I talk to Tyler every night. But Tyler, a lot of people having this conversation, they want to jump to, oh my God, what if the aliens are coming here and they're putting us in cages and they're going to eat us like rats, right? Like, what was that, Z?
World War Z?
No, there was a TV show where it turns out the aliens came to, commingle and be in peace with the world. But they were actually eating human beings. And when they couldn't get enough human beings to process, they were eating like parakeets and shit. I thought it was Z. I thought that was the name of the...
Talk about stepping down on the food scale. Jeez.
Yeah, man, I'm talking about realest, one of the realest to try. My family, SOE, got the tools to survive. Yeah, I don't